And good morning from the CNET New Studios. It's episode 234 of the 359 podcast. And you're joining us just in time for WWDC. And in the house today, we've got Ben Fox, Rubin, and Roger Cheng. Good morning, guys. What are we talking about as if anybody didn't know?
There's a thing going on today?
I don't know. We're going to do that joke?
All right.
It's a slow news
I still hear the
day.
music playing. Is
I
that
know.
intentional?
I love the music.
It's going to play music.
Just keep playing the
Just
music.
the entire time. So yeah, we're going to be talking about WWDC. If you don't know what that is Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference. Usually it's fairly a little geeky, to be honest.
It's a little wonky.
Yeah, it talks a little bit about, operating system updates, coding updates, really fascinating stuff. But I think this time we may actually see some more stuff. There's rumors about hardware, speakers, maybe a talk about augmented or virtual reality. So lots of new developments
and updates to some of the the MacBook lineups, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So there are plenty of stories to kind of dive into. WWDC actually starts up in about 2 hours. Starts around 1 o'clock our time, 10 a.m. Pacific. CNET has full live coverage, but we're going to talk about what we want to see.
We're
going to do a little bit of the preview. As always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments section. Brian will pick out the best, and we'll get to them in 3 minutes and 59 seconds.
From approximately 3, 2...
Welcome to the 359. I'm Roger Cheng.
I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
Apple's WWDC Developer Conference will start up shortly, and we'll have the full live event coverage for you. But before the action gets started, we wanted to go through what we wanted to see from the event.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, in particular, you were kind of looking at smart speakers.
Right, the
that's your
Siri
focus.
speaker.
That's right. Well,
is
that what it's called? The Siri speaker?
It's probably not going to be called that, but I would be really shocked if they ended up introducing a completely different digital assistant that was going to power this thing.
I think it's going to be Apple Speaker or Apple Home or Apple something.
Apple Home?
Apple.
They're going to call it Apple Home,
Apple
just like
House.
Google Home and the Essential Home and the Home.
Home. Yeah.
Either way, this should be a pretty big deal. Rumors about this started, well over a year ago that this speaker was actually going to be coming out. And I think it really is. To me, it shows some sort of admission from Apple that the phone cannot do every last thing.
Yep.
And especially in the home, maybe your phone's upstairs, maybe you lost it, under, a throw pillow or something like that.
And I think it's the idea of being able to call out to a device. We've all kind of gotten used to calling out to Alexa on the Echo speaker. Apple tried it with the iPhone with Hey Siri, right? But it doesn't work. No one actually ever goes Hey Siri.
Yeah, in some cases, or in a lot of cases, you need that centralized stationary speaker. Yep. And that's why I think that Apple finally decided that they wanted to do this. However, I think the rumors are that this isn't going to have a video screen. It's not going to have a screen capability, which means they're already late to the game, and they're not going to have a major feature that Amazon is going to come out with a little bit later on with the Echo. What is that thing called? The
Echo Show. Yep.
The Echo Show, which is going to come out later this month.
Although I guess it seems more like an Echo Look, which has the camera, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what the rumor says. The other big thing is obviously if they're going to come out with a speaker, Siri has to get better, right? Siri is kind of not great.
Yes, I really, really don't like using Siri, and I use a lot of these intelligent assistants because I write a lot about them, and I feel like the Google one is probably the best one as far as my own testing is concerned.
Yeah.
I think Amazon's tends to do really well. I'm trying to avoid using the name just to not trigger people's smart speakers.
Very nice of you.
Yes. But I think Siri really does need to do a very good job of trying to catch up considerably, especially if they're going to create some sort of dedicated device just for Siri.
Yep. I mean, it's been really slow going. They introduced this thing several years ago. They really just let it use third-party apps last year, but it needs to get smarter. It needs to understand you a little bit better, and it's definitely dealt with a lot of growing pains. So next up, we want to talk about augmented reality. It's a thing that Tim Cook has teased. He calls it sort of it's the biggest thing since phones in general. He has had many comments about sort of the opportunity that comes from AR, but we haven't seen anything yet.
Right. Other than the comments.
Meanwhile, you look at Google, Facebook, Microsoft. Everyone's talking about AR as one of the big next trends. But Apple hasn't done anything.
Right. And you're absolutely right. A lot of those other companies have actually presented some sort of hardware or initiative or, Skunk Labs, something like that. Apple hasn't presented anything to the public at all about that.
I mean, there's Google Lens that Google just showed off last month, right? This image recognition system that totally makes sense, is totally useful. Can't wait to actually see it. But Apple just hasn't done anything even close to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So
how are we on time, by the way? Oh, there it is.
Lastly, want to talk about MacBooks, right?
Yes.
Supposedly the rumor is new MacBooks coming. I personally just want to see a new MacBook Air. Come on, man. Throw me a bone.
We talked about this last year that they updated the baseline version of the MacBook Pro.
Right.
And we essentially told people look, this is your new MacBook Air, and you're going to have to pay a lot more money for it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, I want to see an update. I don't think it's going to happen, but I mean, that would be on my wish list.
Why wouldn't they do it, though? What's the problem
They're just
here?
Pushing everyone kind of up market, right? It's sort of I
don't like it.
You got to pay up. I mean, so they say they have a low-end laptop for people who can't afford the more expensive one. It just happens to be crappy and old.
$1,000 is apparently low end.
Yeah,
I don't agree.
All right, for more of these stories and all the WWDC coverage, check us out on CNET. I'm Roger Cheng.
I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
Thanks for listening.
All right, so we've got a few wish listers in the chat. Thanks again for everybody for coming back and for bearing with us when we were on hiatus there for a minute. It was a nice little break, but we're so happy to be back, and thank you for all the warm welcomes back. So let's go ahead and jump right into the comments coming in on YouTube. Sepracia says, completely wireless iPhone, no charging port. Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, totally. But we're not expecting any sort of iPhone, major hardware iPhone announcements until later this year.
Is he saying to remove the charging port completely?
Seems like it.
That's pretty bold.
That's kind of cool.
No, that's not. That's super inconvenient, actually.
Aren't we eventually getting, isn't that, the big thing that, we're going to get rid of all the cords? Everything's going to be wireless?
That's a decade from now.
I don't know. I kind of like that idea.
No, totally. There's a company out there called Energous that's focusing on working on wireless charging from a distance. So the idea is you walk in a room and there's a little broadcast signal there. It's kind of like Wi-Fi, but instead of internet signals, you get power.
I've heard about this idea for years.
Yes.
And I've never actually seen a demo of it.
And it totally could work, but I wouldn't actually remove the charging port. You need to have a physical backup. That's not going to happen.
In case you end up on a desert island, I suppose.
Or anywhere where there isn't this magical energy broadcasting station.
Hey, Roger, guess who's back in the chat?
Ooh.
Oh my God.
Is it?
It is.
I am so happy.
Give a shout out to Christian.
Welcome back.
Hey, Christian, welcome back.
It's good to see you. It's good to see Danny. It's good to see Imagine Sagi. Good to see Matthew. Everybody, all of our good regulars and all the newbies. So much fun to have you guys back. What a way to kick things off on WWDC Day.
Definitely.
What did we do? Christian, go back and watch episode 200, where we did a huge shout out for you, and I don't even think you were there.
Yeah, what a bummer.
It was a bummer, but he kind of punched us all in the face for that one.
There you go.
We're really proud of you.
Figuratively speaking.
All right, we got a lot more wish lists to go through, so let's keep churning. Trust Mubaiwa. I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher everybody's name. A new MacBook with more ports and no touch bar. Go figure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, totally.
Goes without saying.
The MacBook really does need more ports.
There is a MacBook Pro with no touch bar. I mean, there is that low-end option.
I just want to see, that MacBook, to me, was more conceptual than anything. They were this is what we see, laptop technology becoming a couple of years from now. But I felt like it was a little too futuristic. The world wasn't entirely ready for it. No. I'm talking about just the baseline MacBook. You remember the one where it only had a USB Type-C?
There's a baseline MacBook Pro that has no touch bar.
Okay.
So there's that. Not enough ports, though. I think that's to his point. I'd like to see more USB-C ports.
Yeah.
For sure.
Christian gave his seal of approval for episode 200, by the way.
All right.
Brandon says, I would love to see a MacBook. Oh, no, I already read that one. I apologize. Chris Gonzalez and several others are anticipating the Siri speaker.
Right.
And they're calling it the Siri speaker.
So I want to also ask people out there, how excited are you about this? Do you already have an Echo or a Google Home? Are you planning on buying an Apple speaker if it does in fact come out? Because Amazon has obviously done a really good job of coming out with a speaker well over 2 years ago. They've sold millions of them. So a lot of loyal Apple users probably have Echoes in their home already.
They're all going to just throw them in the trash and buy the Apple speaker. I still think it's going to be, I know the Siri speaker is a good name, but I feel like they've been sticking to Apple as the naming convention. Apple Music, Apple
They call it the Apple Home. I feel like it's going to be so
Or
lame.
Apple Speaker. Even Apple, like, I don't know.
Apple Speaker doesn't sound very good either.
I don't think it sounds that great.
Well, have they all but abandoned the I prefix and no I speaker?
They kind of have.
All right.
They're going to come up with something and drive it into our brains with so much advertising and billboards and whatever that we're all going to say, oh, yeah, this is a great name eventually.
I will say, like the iPad. We all kind of made fun of the iPad at first. It's like just kind of
sounds like the iPod. Yeah.
No, it sounded like a feminine hygiene product.
Oh, really?
At first, that was a big crack early on, and then like now you just think iPad's tablet.
Yeah. They're very good at making things popular just by constant repetition.
The trick with the speakers, though, I've just found like I didn't actually understand the full benefit of these things until I had one and I started using it on a regular basis. Like I didn't even see myself calling to Alexa.
It's okay.
Calling to an assistant for random questions, but like now, like I can't live without it. Like especially like when I'm taking care of the kid, like it's great for playing.
What do you
kids
have?
Music.
Do you have like the Echo Dot, or you have the full on?
Echo Dot, yeah. I mean, just to play music or get.
That's
updates.
the one that I recommend for anybody that's interested in getting an Echo.
Yeah,
$50. They go on sale for $40 sometimes, and I'm almost positive that there's no way Apple comes out with something even close to $50.
What do you think will be the price of this speaker?
Minimum $200. Minimum.
That sounds about right. That's very like Apple-like, right? We're gonna take like the highest, most expensive product that's out there. We'll add a $50 to it.
How much is the Google Home? The Google Home is it's $130. So Google, because they were late to market, they came out just in November. They priced it well under the original Echo.
Yep.
There's no way Apple does something like that.
Yep.
I think it's
they're not trying to undercut anyone.
It's going to be $500.
It's going to be aluminum.
It's going to be aluminum.
It's going to be beautiful.
$500.
Handcrafted,
It'll look nice. That's for sure.
I'm sure it'll look wonderful.
Nobody has confused the Echo for looking nice.
Right.
Like it's just a big black Pringle cylinder that's just in your kitchen.
Right.
It's not particularly attractive.
All right, we got a few people looking for Brian Tong in the chat. He's coming later. We're just warming things up for him. We got questions.
This is a poor man's Brian Tong show. You guys want charisma? You came to the wrong podcast.
We got a few questions still coming up from Thanos, Wasabi Ice Cream, William Voon, Pro HD, Jesse Gademan, and many, many more. So we're going to keep trying to slam through these. Thanos wish list says iPad, great name, by the way. Thanos, iPad Pro, 10.5 inch.
That's definitely in the rumors right now.
No kidding.
Yeah.
What is the biggest iPad Pro?
That'd be a huge ball drop if they don't get on that.
What is the what's
like 9.7 or something?
No. They've got a bigger one, like a 12 point.
Oh, that's
something.
like
what's the biggest iPad Pro?
You're looking at me. You guys are the experts.
I know.
You gotta crack open your
There's
computer
this thing
for
called
that
the
one.
internet that I could type. What is it? 12.7? No.
I don't know. I'm not that.
The idea is this 10.9 is like the kind of mid range, like it's in the middle.
But that's all they've been doing for the past couple of years. That's all they've been doing is making the product smaller and larger, and like that's what's so exciting about the Series speaker to me.
12.9, by the way.
Is that
12.9.
It's like actually a different product, like
confirmed by Anthony, Juan, and several others in the chat. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Meanwhile, Wasabi Ice Cream says free Apple fidget spinner instead of Apple stickers.
Ooh.
Really?
I don't know, man. Apple
I like
fidget
that
spinner?
idea.
That's a big headline. People will be all over it.
You know, if they were going to keep up with the trends, it would be appropriate.
They wouldn't give it to you for
like 5 minutes.
The moment that Apple announces free fidget spinners, like that's when the trend dies. Like it's just all right, we're done.
I like the suggested name for the new speaker, the Apple Soundbox thingy.
Yes.
I wish.
That's way better.
Their marketing people need to get on this.
I
Soundbox
wish
thingy.
it was named that. Yeah.
I'm sure there's some legal issue with that.
Probably.
Thingy's been taken already.
Thingamajig.
William Voon says, we need a Retina MacBook Air. Again, this is like, all these are so good, but so no-brainers, too. Like, Apple, get on it.
Yeah. MacBook Air is just, I feel like, I would be very surprised if they announced an update to it, like, ever.
Like, their loyalists have been begging for it for forever.
Yeah.
You've got a MacBook Air right there. Show the people the bezel on that thing. It's hideous.
Oh, bezel.
Look at that. It's
bezel.
that is a very old-looking product. But people really like it. It's nice and thin, and it's $999. Like, what more could you want?
Karen says, I hope they kill the Air.
Ooh, that's
that's
a
just-
bold prediction.
It's a hater.
That is
right
bold.
there.
All right, we've been sitting on this question for a minute, and he's been very patient for us. So, Pro HD, what do you think of the new rumored iPad with mouse, which is integrated within the smart keyboard?
Go for it.
Touchpad or mouse?
He says mouse.
I'm.
I think you could kind of interchange them.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's. I think they should have done this years ago.
Mhm.
Like having a. If you're gonna have the iPad Pro be something that you actually do work on, like you need to have something more precise than your touchscreen.
Something tactile.
Yeah, you need something tactile, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that touchpad or mouse totally makes sense. Like,
I would
there
be
need-
down
there
with
needs to be
that.
something- yeah.
That's more appealing to me as a consumer.
Yeah,
Just
because like the pencil is nice, but it's also
niche.
it's niche. It's not part of your main kind of workflow. No one
Yeah,
writes
but
on
like-
the screen.
Come on, none of these new innovations have really pushed the iPad to get better sales. Like their sales have been
No,
diminishing
but
for
I would
years.
argue that the touchpad, the fact that there's the cover for the touchpad on the Surface, has probably made it more of an attractive option for people looking to do work on their tablet.
Right. And they've been selling fewer units. If I remember correctly, it's fewer units, but they're selling more expensive iPads. So they are actually doing a little bit better with that business.
Yeah, not really. I mean, it's been on a pretty consistent decline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Jesse Gademan is asking about, I'm hoping for iOS 11 drag and drop between apps. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a fantastic suggestion. I don't know if that'll actually happen, but they have Continuum, and I don't know how well it works. Kind of works okay, I guess.
I don't use it much.
In the same Wi-Fi, I don't use it at all, but we've tried it. It kind of works on the same Wi-Fi network, but having it between apps is kind of nice. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah. Danny Green points out that the iPod is about dead with all the stuff on the phones these days. He's got a point. But you think there's still kind of like a fun gimmicky, like it's kind of like kids mode?
You
to an
mean the
extent?
iPod, like the iPod Touch or something like
iPod
that?
Touch.
Yeah.
The iPod Touch definitely gets thrown at kids a lot. I would say.
I mean, I
Definitely.
don't think they're going to discontinue that, though.
No, it's one of those things where I think they may update it with like a spec bump, like a little bit more memory, and then like just offer it up. Like it's
Oftentimes they do those spec bumps and they don't even mention it on stage.
They don't even. Yeah, no, totally. It's not worth it. Like sometimes it's a press release.
Right.
Yeah. DMMDK branches off the prior comment, says, what about a proper iOS file management system? Feels overdue. Sure does.
Yeah.
Yes.
These
I
are all
think,
very good suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of a. I don't know if it was a leak or something. There was a tease of Apple Files, and so earlier this morning, I think we'll get something like that. Today's.
So something like drag and drop and file management, I think, could fit very well into something like WWDC.
Yep.
Because it is like
It's
a
software.
wonkier
Yeah.
software
Totally.
type of show. I mean, like we're talking a lot about like these different like hardware things. Typically, tell me if I'm wrong here. Typically, hardware is not where WWDC
No.
shines.
No, most of these developer conferences, not just Apple, but all of these, typically they talk about software. They talk about
like their
operating
big
system
ideas.
updates, big
Yeah.
ideas. But it's only been recently, like Google kind of introduced Google Home last year. Like it's only been recent that they've used the developer conference as a platform to talk about hardware.
Mhm.
So it's good though. It's very exciting.
Yes. Makes it more reason to actually watch it.
Yeah. Some
Apple
of it gets pretty wonky.
in the chat, Apple Device Pro says we need split screen on the iPhone. There's an interesting thought. That's something I've not heard about yet.
Definitely.
I mean, they have that on the
heard
iPad.
people talk about that a lot.
But on the
it's
iPhone.
But like if you have like the regular size and not a plus, that's a small screen to do split screen.
It's workable. I mean, split screen's been on Android for many years now.
Mhm.
So, particularly like Samsung and LG phones, and it works pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Like you have like your inbox in one window, you can watch a movie or something in your second window.
If they announced something like that, the crowd would go wild. I remember
yeah.
when they did split screen
That's
for the iPads.
innovation.
Yeah. With the iPad, everybody was like, this is incredible. This is something that you could do on your Windows PC 15 years ago.
Yellow Matt asks, do you think that if the new iPad Pro design will give us a hint about what to expect out of the new iPhone? I think that's an interesting thought.
That's an interesting
theory.
thought.
I can go
Unlikely.
a dozen different
Unlikely.
ways.
I feel like the iPad convention usually follows the previous generation's iPhone designs, whether it's like the chamfered edges or whatever. But
Chamfered edges.
I don't
We're
know.
throwing out all the old favorites.
oh yeah,
Chamfered aluminium.
no, but it's hard to see that they kind of hint at the iPhone at this event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got some more hardware wishes again with like a new AirPod design, which I don't think is going to happen today, but
Now,
I know that you're not alone
That
in
just
that
came
wish
out.
list.
What
Yeah,
would
but they're
a
still
new-
ugly.
Like a new AirPod design where it doesn't like have the weird
Or
things
doesn't
on the on the end.
Where it doesn't look like you have Q-tips in your ears all the time.
The thing is that people are buying that thing.
Yeah,
I
I
see
see
those
it.
out in
They
public
work.
all the
Everywhere.
time.
They work.
Yeah.
I don't like them. I'm just not that I don't like them, but beyond aesthetics, I'm just really worried I would lose them.
People seem to be buying them a lot more than I anticipated.
Yeah, same here.
I'll stick with the cheapo ones that come with the phone.
So-
that's not my.
How about this? This is technically a hardware wish, but do we think that there could be possibly better battery performance coming out of improved software?
Wouldn't that be nice?
That's a really good
Wouldn't
question.
it?
That's been a focus of Google and Android for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're going to talk about battery life that much. I mean, that's kind of
It'd be kind of nice just as an
Totally.
included thought.
if they actually talked about how they were making the operating system a little bit more efficient, run a little bit better. I don't know if that's going to happen. That would be awesome if they did, though.
Yeah. And before we got to wrap it up, because we're running out of time here, and they're going to be kicking off the formal coverage out in our San Francisco office shortly, Joby Nelson says, I think Apple TV should support 8K just for longevity.
Oh my
Oh
god!
my God.
Woof.
Wow, that's
Yo,
bold.
you're not wrong, but yikes.
But yeah, that also not
8K?
that's not happening. I mean, Apple usually is actually late to the game when it comes to supporting new technology. They like to wait for it to kind of mature before they step in. So I would
right,
expect 8K.
Educate me for a second. Does it already support 4K?
Yeah.
Okay.
The new
and
one
that
does.
happened. That happened fairly recent. Yeah.
Yeah,
the new
that
one
was just
did.
the new one. So it took a while.
It would be nice, I guess.
I don't know why.
Our last wish list item from Jordan, Apple toothbrush.
Ooh,
Eye brush.
my
Eyebrush.
electric toothbrush just died this morning, so I would totally be in the market for an Apple
Of course
toothbrush.
you would be. Of course
Yeah.
you
Like
would be.
Dyson.
Aluminium.
Dyson would be more likely to do like a totally souped up toothbrush.
Right,
but
that they
I would like to
overcharge
see
you
one.
on? Yeah, totally.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right, so to close it out, let's go ahead and put down on the table what we think our guess is going to be for what the speaker is going to be called. Because it's coming like a freight train.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be boring and say Apple speaker.
I'm gonna go with Apple Home, even though I hate that name.
Oh, what? You stole my name. That was the name that I... Never mind.
No, I mean
That's
I wasn't
fine,
gonna say
whatever.
Apple speaker.
You totally mocked that suggestion early on,
Yeah.
and now you're, like, using it.
Fine, I'll go with iSpeaker.
That's not happening.
I feel horrible saying it.
I'm stealing from the chat. I'm going with soundbox thingy.
Soundbox
thingy.
Yes.
Wait, Apple Soundbox thing or just Soundbox thingy?
You have to put the name of the company in it. Yeah.
That's what Tim Cook wants now. Like, everything has to have Apple in front of it.
right.
Yeah, Apple soundbox thingy. Yeah.
All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that works. That's rolls right off the tongue.
All right, let's bring it home. Thanks
All right.
everybody for sticking around. They'll be kicking off, like I said,
Brian
San
Tong?
Francisco. Brian Tong will
Sharon
be here
Patrick,
shortly,
yep.
and they'll be taking you all the way through WWDC. But thanks for joining us early on for our little precursor.
Yep.
Thanks everybody.
If you liked anything you saw or heard here, check us out on CNET. Our podcast is also available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play Music.
Feedburner.
Feedburner. And you have forgot one. All right, see y'all tomorrow.
Later.